Hello everybody, and welcome back to the channel. As you have noticed, I have may or may not have gotten a haircut. It's quite nice, but here we are to look at some of the new cards that Riot has so thankfully given us. I had actually half expected a champion today, but it doesn't look like we're getting that. However, by the looks of just the art of the card, without even reading any of them, I can tell that the next one is going to be Malphite. It's easy. And there's only 4 cards, so we're going to have to, well, actually, that's 5 cards. Yeah, there's only, oh, there's 6. Alright, so there's 6 cards, so we have plenty to talk about. Let's first go on to the Crest of Insight. Okay, Crest of Insight is a 2-mana landmark from Targon. Countdown 1, get an extra mana. Oh, it's ramp! Shit! Wait, Targon is getting ramp? Wait, no. No. No, Targon already has all the really good tools, and now you're telling me they get ramp? I mean, it's only for like 1 round, right? But this is still an incredibly useful tool. Imagine if you have something really big that you want to play. But you're just 1 mana behind. You play this bad boy. And then the next turn you can guarantee play. I guess I explained that wrong. Basically, if you plan ahead and you realize you want to play something next turn, but you don't have the mana for it next turn, you can play this. That's what I meant. So it's a 2 mana for 1, but it can also allow you to. It's like you're playing 2 mana to get 1 mana in the future to speed up playing something else. So this card is very dependent on if there's a really powerful card that you want to get down a little bit earlier on curve. It isn't as consistent as Freljord ramp, as it's only for this one round that you, and it's on that countdown. So, and ironically, a lot of the countdown cards that would speed up countdowns don't work well with this card at all. I find that actually quite interesting. Where this card is premised on the fact that you get it on the next turn, so you get that extra mana on the next turn, and therefore can play a higher cost unit. If you trigger it on the same turn, then you lose its value. Then you've actually gotten a net loss in value. That's interesting. I just find that interesting. I don't know what you would. I feel like you would pair this with other regions other than Targon to get this sort of effect. But, Targon is just already a really good region as it is. So, who knows? Maybe you just want to ramp up to Aurelion Soul a little bit faster. Or at least the dragon. Oh god, ramping to the 7 mana 7/7 dragon. That allows you to further reduce the cost of Aurelion Soul. Yo. That's crazy! Alright, now we got Blue Sentinel. Oh, wait. Oh. Oh! This doesn't have a. Oh. It's a token. Oh, it's a token. 2 mana, 2/3. Last breath, summon a Crest of Insight. So you don't even get the control when this comes out. Okay. Whatever. But it's not even that bad. If it's attached to a minion, then it's actually better. Right? You get the 2 mana, 2/3, and then you get the extra mana in the future once it dies. I mean, after it dies, and then the countdown goes down. Alright. I was considering it just you playing it in general. But if you don't really have like in this scenario, you don't really have a lot of control on when you activate it, as it's basically dependent on when your opponent or when you. I mean, if you pair it with Shadow Isles, then you have a little bit more control. But it's mostly dependent. Most of the time, it's dependent on whether your opponent kills this card or not. And just even as a base stat line, as a 2-mana 2/3 is a good stat line. It isn't underpowered at all. It's a 2-mana 2/3 with a mana upside, which is, and landmark synergy upside, which is really good. I think this is going to be a staple card in a landmark archetype with Malphite and. Why am I blanking? Whoa. Why am I blanking on names? Talia. Oh my god. Don't be like me. Oh, that's not what I wanted to look at all. Alright, now we have the Earth Elemental. A 4-mana 3/5 with Overwhelm. Alright, Overwhelm is always a good keyword. Once you've summoned 4+ landmarks this game, grant me +3 attack. So what you're saying is this has the potential to become a 4-mana 6/5. That's pretty dang good. I mean, 4-mana 6/5 with Overwhelm is pretty dang good. I mean, even just as the stat lines as it is 4-mana 3/5, that's a pretty good stat line as is. Very defensive stat line. And then it like has the benefit of the more landmarks you play, then it gets the damage, and then it really gets to emphasize on the Overwhelm. Because of that, I mean, this is just a solid card. To be fair, this is very comparative to Troll Ravager, a 4-mana 3/5, but this one has the whole thing to get the keyword, which is why it doesn't really see play, because it just doesn't fit as well. But with this, you instead have the keyword already on the body, and you get the upside of when you fulfill the condition, then you get something that synergizes with the keyword, and Overwhelm is a really strong keyword. So this depending on how the deck sorts itself out, this could be a very key element in that deck as a pseudo finisher. I mean, at least good chip damage. This is looking more like a mid-range. Yeah, I think Talia would like a mid-rangey landmark deck. This sort of what this is turning out to be. Alright. Rockfell Path. Countdown. Obliterate the weakest enemy. Interesting. So this is removal via landmark. We see a little bit of that with Zillion, but now we're getting it in Targon. Rockfell Path. Obliterate the weakest enemy. This one's gonna be hard. This reminds me of Land's Respite in a lot of ways. Let me tell you why. Lamb's Respite, obviously give the weakest ally I can't take damage or die this round. And ironically, Rockfell Path would counter this because it's an obliterate, not a kill. Or I might just be misreading into that. But it also costs 2 mana. And it affects the weakest ally instead of the weakest enemy. So with a potential upside. Problem is that there are. I mean, what was I doing with Lamb's Respite? I don't know why. I think it was just I saw weakest enemy 2 mana. I instantly associated with Lamb's Respite. I don't know why I did that. What I'm trying to say is the biggest weakness of this card is that they can merely Vile Feast or do something that summons a weaker version over the course of 2 countdowns, and basically in the end it's like 2 mana to obliterate a 1-drop, which is not great. This, I mean, it's landmark synergy, but I don't think this is great. You might have to run this if you are... no, you don't even have to run this. I don't think you do. Honestly, there's so, like, in this sort of deck between Targon and Shurima, because you're going to be pairing this with Shurima, there's way more other, more appealing landmarks. Way more appealing landmarks than this one. I think this is probably the worst landmark I have seen. It doesn't really do much. Yeah, that's my gut reaction. This Rockville path is bad. Seed of Strength. 0 mana. Oh, this is a token. Oh, it's a token to the Spiral Staircase. Alright. 0 mana, slow speed, ephemeral. I assume that's not ephemeral. What do they call that? Fleeting. It's fleeting. Grant an ally +3/+2 and overwhelm. Wait! And what's the mana? 3-man landmark. Oh boy! Oh my goodness, this is huge. Oh my gosh, this is the main finisher for this deck. I can tell right now, this is one of the main finishers of the deck. So, alright, create a Seed of Strength in hand. So you create only 1, alright? Now imagine you have Talia, and you double this. Not only did you get two of these for when it pops, but now you can actually, that's the whole point. When this pops, you can place it on Talia, and then her stones, they hit the blocker, and then she hits the face anyways. Yes, this basically allows you to punch through Talia blockers and go and make her a lot more threatening as a finisher with this giving Talia overwhelm. The downside is, of course, I mean, there is no downside. I mean, it's slow speed, obviously. That's the downside. So it's very interactable. So, like, if they have, like, a Ruination or something like that, that could be a bit of a threat. But this is also the region, the pairing of regions that require this has a lot of answers to those sort of tools. They have Bastion. They have Rite of Negation. So you can very easily set up a 1-round finisher with Talia. Well, it wouldn't be 1 round, but you would get really good chip damage. They're doing almost more than half their Nexus health if you get the three rocks. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's like 12 damage to face. Yo, I like this card. And then it's, of course, paired with the Spiral Stairs. 3-mana landmark, create a Seed of Strength in hand. Another big weakness here is definitely the fact that this is fleeting. So if you do not have a specifically Talia or something else that really would benefit from this, like if you don't have a board, then this and it pops and then you have nothing to play it on, that can be super awkward. But I think overall this is a really, really good card. I think the Spiral Staircase is exactly what Talia needed. Really, really great card. I don't know if... Would you... Now that I'm thinking about this possible Malphite Talia deck, I'm trying to imagine if you would run Temple. Temple. Would you run Veiled Temple? It's almost impossible to tell right now. Because the way that these new cards are looking, just the way they look, it looks like this is more of a mid-rangey deck, less of a setup deck, if you know what I mean. So there might not be room for a 4-drop play of Temple, though I could be wrong. It's very much depending on the answers for us, but let's just look at landmarks. Some landmarks. Okay, so in this sort of deck we would be running this Perseverium, obviously, for draw, Shapestone. We would run Rockhopper, 2-mana 3/1 with Roiling Sands. That's some removal for us. That's very nice. We would not be running Rockfell Path. We would not be running any of these. Oh no. I mean, maybe Startip Peak, maybe, depending, but I don't. These other two, obviously not. No, not in the same region, not in the same region, not in the same region. Would we run Desert Naturalist? We might. Desert Naturalist could be a really good tech card for the mirror, and or like if one of these cards that we have isn't providing much value, like the Roiling Sand. Let's say it's just the sort of deck that doesn't play a lot of things. It's more of a control deck, and we can, or if it's an aggro deck, Roiling Sands is not going to be there in the first place. But if we like, for example, had where's that new card? This card. The blue Sentinel. Oh, I just realized this is blue buff. Why did I just notice that this is blue buff? The blue Sentinel is blue buff. Oh my goodness. But like on the Crest of Insight, if we don't really want the mana ramp for the next turn, we can easily get a 5/4 out of that. Oh, I have to keep searching it up because I'm a pleb. Anything else? Not really. Not as of right now. What is likely to happen, though, is that Malphite is going to come in tomorrow on the scene, and he's going to introduce to us a landmark. A very good landmark. Either he is played as a landmark. I mean, that's a little bit crazy to think about, but they might do that. Or when you play him, he spawns landmarks or a landmark. That's just what I'm feeling. That's what I'm seeing. I'm excited for it because I've been struggling with Talia because Talia is one of my, like, I love the idea of the landmark synergy stuff, but it doesn't feel like she just has a home yet, you know. And this expansion looks to be fixing that, and I'm looking forward to it. With that being said, I hope you all enjoyed this reaction as much as I have, and I hope to see you all in the next one. Bye bye.